Hello there everybody, a very good afternoon to you all and welcome back to Taurex live stream, daily live stream. Forgot my words there. I just had a really dodgy, really having some bad Wi-Fi at the moment. I'm going to call someone, but just had some dodgy Wi-Fi there, so I'm hoping everyone can hear me okay. It looks like it's okay, it's fine, we're good to go. If it's a little bit laggy, I do apologise. It's I've got a few people in the house today, so they're on the Wi-Fi and stuff, so I should have plugged in the Ethernet cable, but oh well. Anyway, welcome to a Taurex live stream. Today we're going to be covering, we're approaching the end of the year. The streams will be, I'll still be streaming every single day, of course, but I will keep them as light as they need to be. I know some people are, having some well-deserved time off, and that's absolutely fine. That's what it's all about. That's what the Christmas period is all about. So, yeah, if there's any requests that people have, then I will go through them requests with you. And if not, we'll just plow on as we normally do. Bobby, hello to you. Good to see you. Thank you very much for joining today, and I hope you are doing well on this Friday afternoon. Normally, on a Friday, it can be a little bit quiet in terms of the market moves. However, we have got some high impact news coming out today. Basically, what's happened this week is that because it's obviously Christmas next week and the markets are shut on like Wednesday and Thursday, a lot of the high impact news that would have been in a normal week next week has sort of been has been dumped into this week, and it's just it's been really good actually to trade. It's been a really volatile couple of weeks, and especially this week, and that's something that we prepared for in our week ahead analysis. So. GDP was the data that would come out yesterday after I come off the stream. So just a quick recap of that, just to add into the fact that we've got that sort of stronger dollar narrative coming into the end of the year and the start of next year as well. To add fuel to that fire, we've had the GDP figures out of the US, and they came in higher than expected and higher than the previous. Quite significantly higher, actually, above 3%, so 3.1% was the figure that came out. And as you can see, if I go on to the dollar market, or the dollar index, should we say, you can see really the explosion we had higher. You can see that we broke out above this high. We had a little bit of a test, and then we broke out higher again. And that was really off the back of the GDP figures as well. So I would be, and I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again, I'd be very careful in terms of your expectations in the next week or so. It's obviously been a fantastic week of volatility. We've had big moves in the stock market, massive moves lower in the stock market actually, which is really exciting. So the main theme of the streams that I'll be doing in the next week or so, they will be based around potentially a Santa Claus rally and sort of trying to catch a little bit at the bottom in that stock market and trying to ride that sort of grind higher next week. When it comes to Forex, I'm not saying there won't be moves, but typically next week, obviously the markets are shut for 2 of the days. It's Friday now, so we shouldn't expect massive moves like we've seen this week. That's just general market expectation, right? So if you do trade on the lower time frames, you should be all right. But if you trade on those higher time frames, you might, struggle a little bit in terms of getting any decent moves. But you can see overall, we've got a dollar which is now, technically bullish. And you can see what we might get is sort of this grind, something that looks like that next week. I think that's maybe the way to play it if you're going to play it at all. And the way that you'd play that is, of course, against Euro dollar, which is a trade that we cashed out yesterday on the stream. I was targeting this low down here. The market sort of decided to bottom out there, and I didn't really want to be too hasty in terms of my... Also, we're too greedy, especially in these later periods, and that's another piece of advice I'm going to give throughout next week and this week as well, and today as well, is that during this sort of 8-day period where it's a bit weird, if you do manage to get into some profit, I would really strongly recommend that you think about taking some off the table because of that reason. So yeah, I mean, again, it's shaping up really nicely that this Forex market for next year, as long as the data continues to be strong, the expectation now of cuts has diminished a little bit. What you have to be careful of is that it doesn't swing too far. So what we had previously was the markets were expecting so many cuts, so the dollar fell, And then as the markets realised that, or as it was quite clear that the markets got ahead of themselves in terms of cuts, then the dollar started to rise as those expectations fell. But what you've got to be careful is we don't go the other way. You know, I can't see there being hikes, but if we start to see that inflation tick higher, the data remains strong, what we're going to get is people start to go, oh, inflation, what about inflation? And then we're going to start to maybe even hear things like interest rate hikes. I know that sounds really ridiculous, but just trust me, things can move very quickly. And if we do get that, then I think we've maybe swung too far that way again. And it's all about how we return back to the middle. When we return back to that middle level, that's when we get the repricing in these markets, and especially a repricing in the dollar. So I still remain bearish on euro dollar going forward, but of course being very, very careful at the same time. Now, yesterday you can see, and this is probably a good trade to think about over the next sort of a couple of weeks or so, is dollar yen has now created a new high, a new swing high at 158, and it came really from the low here. This is basically all of December's price action. What I think we could see here on euro dollar on dollar yen is, I'm trying to find a good area of interest. I think it sits in there, doesn't it? I'm trying to find, yeah, so I like this. This is what I like. And this is the one I'm going to post in the trade ideas section in our Discord channel. What we've basically got here is a daily Fibonacci. And that daily Fibonacci, there's a 1 hour demand zone that sits and covers that 61.8. So what I'm looking for is a move down there. I know it seems quite far away, but there's no reason why we couldn't get that. And then I'm going to look to sort of ride that up higher. The really aggressive trader, you might want to try and use a break and retest of this high, and you might want to buy it from here. That's up to you. We could definitely see another wave higher. But if this is the top for now, and we do get a bit of a fall, then I'd love to see 152. Maybe I'm being a little bit cautious there, but you know, I like to maximize my risk reward as much as possible, and I like to really enter trades at discount areas or premium discount areas to buy, premium areas to sell. That's the most important thing. So I'm going to take a screen grab of that, and I'm going to put that in the Discord channel. In fact, I'll show you. I'll do it for you right now. Here we are in our newly formed Discord channel, and if we go down to trade ideas, you'll see that I'm starting to post in here as much as I can. And we've only really just started this community as well, so we're going to be building this up next year. So thank you to those who have joined early doors. To my loyal supporters, I appreciate that. Let me just go to downloads, USD yen. This is my USD yen buy idea from the live stream. So I'm looking for something that looks a little bit like that. And again, the more aggressive trader might want to try and use, you know, the this area here, pretty much where we are now. If you want to be aggressive, that's up to you. Okay, we should probably talk about what's coming up today, because it isn't a typical Friday. As you can see, we've also got the core PCE price index out in about 18 minutes time, and that is expected to tick slightly lower, actually, in terms of the month on month, but the yearly figure, previously 2.8, forecast 2.9. Again, we're expecting a little bit of an uptick in this core PCE. For those who don't know what core PCE price index is, it's inflation. It's just the Federal Reserve's way of measuring inflation. So that it's their sort of preferred gauge, if you know what I mean. So let me just check I've not got any stream issues. Yeah. So that's the primary way in which Jerome Powell and co will measure inflation in the economy. Even though everyone else uses CPI, they like to be a little bit different. So this is a gauge of inflation they like to use. So we shall see how that goes today. It goes without saying, a higher inflation print than what's expected. Again, it's going to fuel that dollar rally. It's going to fuel that now suddenly shift into a much less dovish approach from the Federal Reserve going forward. But if we see core PCE sell off somewhat or fall off somewhat, then we may see a little bit of relief in that dollar and a little bit of a pullback, which would be good for my dollar yen buy idea, which I've just put in the Discord channel. Well, here we have it on the Nasdaq, and the stock market really is actually seeing quite an aggressive period of downside. Do not panic. Do not panic. This is basically market disappointment from the fact that we were expecting all these cuts. So therefore, the stock market started to sort of price in those cuts before they'd even happened. And when their expectations have now been dampened, we get a little bit of disappointment in the stock market. To me, right, as long as inflation doesn't start to ramp up, the labor data remains strong. This is a good thing. The companies are performing well. The economy is strong. They're still going to be cutting next year. This is just a little bit of profit taking, I think, towards the end of the year. So I'm just going to let this play out because, like on the S&P 500, I actually think that we could be running into a really nice area of support, basically at this 5,750 area. And if we could get that, I don't know if we're going to get that today, but if we can maybe get that test as soon as possible, because we ain't got a lot of time till the end of the year, we might just get a little scalp opportunity to sort of trade that back higher. And if you look at the Nasdaq as well, that was my daily fib. You can actually see that 61.8, even though there was a reaction initially, you can see that it's sort of been rejected, and so I'm going to delete that. I'm just going to delete that. I can't really see that clean an area to look to buy from in the Nasdaq. I think the S&P 500 is a bit stronger. And if you look at the US 30, well, there's potential for an absolutely brilliant risk reward setup here. Basically down at this 41,000, we've got if you look where this surge came from, the blueprint of that surge is right at 41,900 or 41,880. I mean, it's a super, super tight stop if you're going to trade just the demand zone. But the risk reward here is pretty fantastic. I'm not interested in selling the stock market until I see one of two things: inflation start to ramp up, or a slowdown in the economic data. And I mean, look at the risk reward you could potentially get from that trade. It's pretty cool, up at 15-1. So they're my main ideas, really. The gold market, I think, again, we've had that 5% fall from this liquidity grab up here. It's not really in an area of interest for me, if I'm being honest. And the gold market doesn't look like one we want to buy right now, especially after we've sort of filled that imbalance and looks like potentially we're even going lower. So with the best performers this year, gold, the stock market, I think the stock market looks best to sort of buy the dip rather than sort of the gold and silver market, if I'm being honest. So that's really my view on that one. Okay. Just a quick heads up, if you are looking to get involved in our Discord channel, which we've just created, I will drop the link in there. There's a couple of things I still need to do to really get the setup. But, for those who are on the stream and stuff, I recommend that you come and get involved. I need to sort that out. I'll drop the link. Why is it not letting me drop the link in there? Give me 2 seconds. Annoying, I had it a minute ago. Anyway, if anyone does want to join, let me know in the comments section, and I'll give you access to that. Okay, that's about it for today. I do apologise about the tiny bit of delay there. Just people I need to plug in the Ethernet cable next time. I will do that. It's been a very busy day. I will continue to set up the community, and next year we're really going to start to get people involved. So that should be fantastic. I'll be back on Monday to break down what's coming up this week. The streams will be a little bit lighter next week than what you're probably used to, but that's fine. I do hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Who getting in the Christmas spirit or whatever you're doing, seeing friends and family. That's the most important thing. I do hope everyone enjoys that time this weekend. I'll see you all on Monday. Take care, trade well, and I'll see you soon.